Hey, what's up? This is Jerry Fetta, owner, founder, and CEO of the Wealth Dynamics brand, coming to you Fitness Friday. This is actually one of my favorite videos. I love talking about fitness. Now, today's topic is gonna be why you should do steroids. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why you should, and I'm gonna go, and this is totally clickbait, just so you know, but have fun with it with me for a second. But watch to the end of the video. If you're interested in getting enhanced performance and doing it in a way that doesn't require steroids, and it's completely legal and it's actually good for you, I want you to watch to the end of the video. I'm gonna give you what I use, okay? Back to our video. So guys, this is Fitness Friday. I'm talking about fitness today. Now I wanna talk to you about steroids, right? So I was a competitive bodybuilder in the state of Alaska from the age of like 16 until about 21 years old. Okay, I did several different shows. I won the 2010 Natural Junior Mr. Anchorage, and I did several other NPC shows, which is a bodybuilding organization. And so I actually got into taking steroids, right? And the reason why is I wanted to become a professional bodybuilder, and I wanted to become Mr. Olympia. Now, on the professional stage, it's called the IFBB, the International Federation of Bodybuilding. They all take steroids. It's a normal thing, right? You can't compete and win there if you don't take steroids, right? And when I say they all take steroids, like that's not an exaggeration. Literally all of them do and have since like the 1960s and 70s, right? So it's not like the NFL and the NBA where they drug test you, like it's kind of just known. Ronnie Coleman took steroids. If you don't know who Ronnie Coleman is, my team's gonna pop a picture of him up right here so you can see. That dude took steroids, right? Jay Cutler took steroids. Phil Heath took steroids. All these guys did and do, right? And that's because that was their goal. Their goal was to weigh 275 pounds at 3% body fat and have muscle striations in their glutes while they stand up on stage and they win the title of being the most muscular human being in the world, right? And it sounds really funny when I say it like that because that was my goal at one point, like winning Mr. Olympia. But you know, there's a whole like lifestyle and stuff that's fun. I like the training, I like the diet, you know, I like challenging myself. I like kind of the culture of going to the gym every day, right? But you know, if you're looking at, okay, I want to be a professional bodybuilder, like at Mr. Olympia level, that's just part of it. Like that's just part of what you've got to do to win. And if you don't, not only are you not going to win, you're not even going to want to step on stage, right? The difference between a natural bodybuilder, someone that does not take steroids, and someone that does, isn't even comparable. Okay, I'll give you an example, right? So before I took steroids, I weighed, I think at best in off season when I would bulk and I was kind of heavier, I would get up to like 180 pounds. I was always a skinny kid in high school. I weighed like, you know, 120, 130 in early high school. By the time I graduated, I got up to like 165 and I really worked and bulked up and I got up to like 180, okay? I took steroids. Okay, several months later, I weighed 205 pounds. I went from doing a dumbbell press with 50 or 60 pounds at best to doing 110 pounds in each hand, right? I could deadlift, you know, maybe 225 pounds when I was natural. When I got on steroids, I could do, you know, over 500 pounds for many reps. Same thing with my squats, right? So what happens is the steroids, it's a hormone you're injecting into your body. And one of the main things it helps with is it actually, it speeds up protein synthesis. When you eat protein, that protein gets turned into amino acids, your body uses it to build muscle. So it puts that on a rapid scale at speed where you're really synthesizing protein quickly, building muscle faster, right? It's helping you recover quicker. Like you're not anymore the same human being. Okay, you've got extra powers, you know, muscle powers, testosterone, right? So that's the benefit of it. Now, the downside of it is there's health risks, right? There's also legal risks. Right, and so when I did it, it wasn't a way that I was doing it legally. So here's the other reason why you should take steroids is your doctor prescribed them to you. If you did not get a prescription from your doctor saying you need testosterone or you need whatever, don't take it, right? So I'll tell you what I was doing, guys. When I first decided, hey, I think, you know, I want to go pro as a bodybuilder, and I was serious about that. You guys see how I am with business. You see how I am with my church and my religion. Like when I want to do something, I'm going to be the very best in the world, and I'm going to pursue it all the way. Right, I'm gonna go all in and I don't think twice about it. And so when I decided that about bodybuilding, I was like, cool, I'm gonna go pro. I already know I'm gonna have to take steroids. I better get started, right? If I'm gonna do it, I might as well do it now. So I approached the biggest guy in the gym. Okay, biggest guy in the gym. His name was Big Matt. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you stories about Big Matt today. You guys are gonna die at some of these stories. But I approached Big Matt Big Matt, he's this, big old dude, probably, 260 pounds, slicked back gray hair. And you can just tell the guy is on steroids. He wore like a black wife beater and jeans when he worked out. So pretty much he dressed like Stone Cold Steve Austin from the WWF every time he worked out. Big old belt with a buckle, and he would just do curls. Never train legs, okay, but he would do curls, he would do chest, he would do back. So he's big old dude up top and then skinny nothing legs down at the bottom. And I could tell Matt took steroids. So I pull him aside one day, I'm like, Matt, I'm trying to be a pro bodybuilder. I think you might take steroids. It's not an accusation. I just think you might. And if you do, how do I get them? Okay. And Matt's like, oh, okay. He was like talking Star Wars terms. He's like, oh, you want to come to the dark side, huh? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I want to come to the dark side. So Matt shows up the next day with 2 vials with a red cap. In Sharpie was written on the front of them what they were, right? So it's testosterone and then another steroid called EQ. EQ is used for racehorses. Okay, what happens is when you inject EQ into a racehorse, it multiplies their blood cell count so that they can get more oxygen in the bloodstream, run faster, build bigger muscles, etc. So he hands me, again, two vials that he had written on in Sharpie. This one is testosterone, this one is EQ, right? Like, no red flag for me at all. I'm like 19 years old. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna buy these bottles and get a needle, which I hate needles, by the way, and inject these into my body right now. Okay, so Matt gives me these vials. I don't think about like, where did Matt get these? What's inside? Why is it written in Sharpie instead of a prescription? I didn't think any of these questions, right? And so I take them from Matt, and then he's like, cool, I'm gonna help you with the first injection, right? So I'm kind of a connoisseur on needles at this point in my life because I did the steroids. There's something called a 20 gauge needle. A 20 gauge needle is in circumference about the size of 2 toothpicks. So if you took 2 toothpicks and put them together, that's about how thick around a 20 gauge needle is. Okay, steroids, you can't just mix it straight, the testosterone, you have to mix it with grapeseed oil. So you have grapeseed oil mixed with testosterone in the little vial. You take this 20 gauge needle, you stick it in, you draw it out, and the 20 gauge is thick, right? That's a fat needle. And so you stick it in the leg, okay? Now, in the thigh, you have what's called muscle fascia tissue. If you were ever to take your fist on your outer thigh and rub on it, it's more tender right on this outside because that's where the muscle fascia is. It's muscle, it's a casing that's very tight, right? So he was like, whatever you do, don't inject it in the muscle fascia. I did that once, it's gonna hurt like hell. He's like, also, watch out for your femoral artery because if you hit that one, you'll bleed out and die. He's like, so make sure you don't do that. So he showed me exactly where. And so he takes me to my boss's office. We're at the gym, okay? After hours, he takes me to my boss's office and we sit down, and at this point, the door's closed, the lights are off, and I have my shorts down, boxers still on. I'll make sure we clarify that. And Matt is going to help me stick a needle in my leg, right? So that was my first experience with steroids, and I hated the needle and I didn't like the experience, but I was trying to achieve my goal, right? And so for me, like, I got big really fast. If you look at some of my pictures from maybe 2012, 2013, I was really big, I was really buff. And a lot of that was due to steroids, but here's the other thing that's not known about steroids is it doesn't supplement for hard work. Okay, if you take steroids and don't use it to its fullest potential, meaning you don't push your body further and further and further, right, then you're not actually gonna see that great of a result. So I was using it, but I was also maxing out myself on the amount of weight I was doing, the amount of reps I was doing. I was training harder than ever, and so the combination of that, helped me out. Okay, now today I don't take them, and the reason why is this. As a guy, what I was doing with Matt was very unhealthy. Okay, I don't know what those were. I hope they were testosterone. I hope that was EQ. I hope it was legit. I hope it didn't have a bunch of other weird stuff in it, right? But you inject things in your body and you don't know what they are, that's a good way to kill yourself fast. That's gonna go in your bloodstream now, right? So what if it's contaminated? What if it's poison? What if it's not the chemical you thought it was, right? And that's why if you don't have a doctor's prescription, you don't do them. I don't have a doctor's prescription, I don't do them, okay? The other thing is when you give your body like artificial testosterone, it stops producing its own naturally. It's trying to maintain something called homeostasis. It needs this much testosterone, you gave it this much. It's like, cool, we don't need to produce any more of our own. So when you come off of a steroid cycle, your testicles actually shrink up a little bit. There's what's called post-hormone therapy you go through, where you use a number of different things to basically regrow your balls back, right? Like your body is not used to having its own testosterone production required. You just pulled the plug on the one you were using and it's like, oof, right? And so I didn't like that experience either. And so, when you take it for a long enough period of time, your body naturally and for a permanent degree will say, we don't ever need to produce testosterone anymore. Even when you come off, it doesn't know how to anymore. So then you end up on testosterone replacement therapy, where then you do have to get a doctor's prescription. You do have to get help because your body can't make any more of its own, right? So I like being a guy. I like having testosterone. I like lifting weights, and I want my own testosterone. I don't want to have to go get a needle stuck in me every 2 weeks by some weird guy with a white butt inspection glove on who also wants to convince me to get a colonoscopy while I'm there. I don't want that experience. Okay, so I would rather just have my own natural testosterone production. And so how do you do that? Number one, train hard. Okay, if you train hard, you lift your heaviest, your body will be demanded to go create testosterone. Okay, number two, eat lots of protein, eat your saturated fats, eat your red meats, eat the bacon, get the butter, like those are all things that help with testosterone. Okay, number three is get lots of sleep. Okay, if you're not getting a lot of sleep, you're gonna have trouble producing much of anything. So make sure you're getting enough sleep. You know, take your vitamins, your supplements, your minerals like we talked about last week. And then finally, you can do a natural testosterone supplement. I use one with First Form. Okay, it's called the Primal Pack. Okay, the Primal Pack has 3 different supplements that I take. They're completely natural. They're vitamins, herbs, minerals, etc. And it's things that when I give this to my body, it encourages my body to produce more of its own natural testosterone, right? So I take one in the morning. It's actually 6 pills. I put it on my Instagram story. That's 6 little orange pills, right? So I take that in the morning. I have 2 little red and white ones I take with it, and that's it. Okay, halfway through the day, I take 2 more little red and white ones, and then that's it. At nighttime, I take one before sleep. That helps me sleep deeper and produce more testosterone in my sleep. And so for me, that's been great because I've done steroids. I know what it's like. I'm using the Primal Pack now. I haven't done steroids since I was 21 years old, right? So it's been about a decade. And so I remember the experience of that, and I now know what it's like to be off of them for a long time and train. And so having this natural support has been super beneficial for me as a guy wanting to build more muscle, wanting to have that extra edge without needing to get into the needles and talking to Big Mad and all those weird experiences that go with it, okay? So that's what I've got for you today. If you're interested in this, by the way, my team is gonna drop our First Form link. I am a First Form Legionnaire, so our First Form link will be in the description. You can go check out the Primal Pack, and you can use that as well. But guys, make sure you're doing the workouts, you're eating, you're sleeping, all the stuff I said before you're like, yeah, let me go take testosterone boosters. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks for liking. Thank you for liking. Be sure you watch again. What am I trying to say? Thank you for watching. Be sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.